historic site, we do have special alarms in our buildings. One day when our staff member came to pick up something at the office, she left her daughter in the car. And when she came out, the daughter said, "You didn't set the alarm, did you?" And she says, "Well, of course I did. You know, we had to protect the buildings." And the daughter flipped out because she said, "There's actually a boy that was just looking out the window at me, and he's going to set off the alarm." And so the staff member came into the building, turned off the alarm, and they looked through the house, but they could never find the little boy. The entry hall of a Victorian home was very important because this is the first place that anyone would see when they would come to visit the house. I was standing at the bottom of the staircase, just about right over here. And a volunteer was standing close to the door, and she looked up the staircase, and then she looked at me, and she said, "They like you." And I was really confused because there were not very many people around us. We were having a special event, and I looked at her and I said, "Okay, who are you talking about?" And she said, "Well, the woman and the boy at the top of the staircase, they really like you." And I looked up, and there wasn't anything there. And I decided that was just fine, that they liked me. And it was really spooky because I worked in this building by myself. So then every day after that, I would walk up the staircase. I felt cold, and I felt the hair on the back of my neck standing up. In 1867, when Mrs. Perkins passed away while visiting her son in Pennsylvania, they put a notice in the paper and asked people to come to the house to visit her. And I will tell you, this is one of the rooms that really scares people when they come into the house. It's as if they can feel her presence. And the painting that you just had an opportunity to look at actually was painted after she passed away. And people feel that the eyes of it are always watching them whenever they're in this room. It's the responsibility of a certain staff member in the 1980s to come into the house, to turn on the lights for tours. She would be involved in security, making sure everything's ready for the day, and they had a doll in this high chair. She noticed that when she would come in the morning, that the doll would be arranged one way, and then when she would go in the evening to turn off all the lights and set the security, that the doll would be arranged another way, and no one on the staff had touched the doll. This was the bedroom of Mr. and Mrs. Perkins. It was not common to have a bedroom on the first floor, but we know Mrs. Perkins had paralysis problems. And what's very interesting is that according to the person that came through the house that's able to see spirits, this is the room that has the most activity. And that activity, unfortunately, is not very cheerful. Not necessarily connected potentially to Mr. and Mrs. Perkins, but the staff members noticed that there would be different indentations on the bed each time they came in. That they come in the morning, straighten out the bed, they would have tours, and then the next morning when they would open it up, there would be different indentations.